From New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India voting in the sixth and penultimate phase of its general elections 2024. Polling begins in 58 parliamentary seats across 6 states and 2 union territories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks exclusively to DD News. Discussion on a range of issues including opposition attacks, his development philosophy and the ongoing elections. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken speaks to Israeli Minister Gantz after ICJ ruling, reiterates the stand on major Rafah operation. Let's get to the latest on the world's largest election in India. Polling is underway for the sixth phase of India's parliamentary elections for 58 parliamentary seats across 6 states and 2 union territories. Voting is taking place in all the 10 lower house seats in the northern Indian state of Haryana, all 7 seats in the national capital New Delhi, 8 seats each in eastern states of Bihar and West Bengal, 14 in Uttar Pradesh, 4 in Jharkhand, 6 in Odisha and 1 parliamentary constituency in Jammu and Kashmir. Polling for 42 assembly constituencies for the Odisha State Legislative Assembly is also taking place simultaneously today. A total of 889 candidates are in the fray. Polling began at 7 a.m. and will conclude at 6 p.m. local time. The last and the 7th phase of polling will be held on 1st of June and counting of votes will be conducted on 4th of June. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged all those who are voting in the 6th phase of Lok Sabha elections to vote in large numbers. Taking to social media platform X, Prime Minister said, and I quote him, "Every vote counts. Make yours count too. Democracy thrives when its people are engaged and active in the electoral process. I especially urged women voters and youth voters to vote in large numbers." Many prominent personalities came out early to cast their vote for the 6th phase of India's parliamentary polls. India's President Draupadi Murmu cast her vote in New Delhi constituency in the 6th phase of Lok Sabha polls. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and his wife Sudesh Dhankar cast their votes in New Delhi. Vice President Dhankar urged everyone to exercise their right to vote and fulfill their constitutional duty.
मताधिकार दायित्व भी है, ताकत भी है। भारत विश्व का सबसे ज्वलंत, सक्रिय, प्रभावी लोकतंत्र है। दुनिया के लिए एक मिसाल है।
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also cast his vote at a polling station in Delhi, calling it a decisive moment for the country. Dr. S. Jaishankar urged people to come out and cast their votes. Former President of India Ramnath Kovind and his wife cast their vote in Delhi. Union Minister and BJP leader Hardeep Singh Puri also cast his vote in Delhi. Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi cast her vote for the 6th phase of parliamentary elections in Delhi. Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik cast his vote for the 6th phase of general elections and 3rd phase of Odisha Assembly elections in Bhubaneswar. He urged all voters, especially the young voters, to vote. Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar cast his vote in Delhi. He said that it is a matter of great pride for him and every voter must cast their votes. Election Commissioner of India Sukhbir Singh Sandhu cast his vote in the national capital. He inspected the arrangements at the polling booth and urged voters to turn up in huge numbers across the country.
This is an opportunity and a responsibility before all of us, although it's voluntary, but I'll request and urge every voter of India to come out and vote.
All right, we're joined in by DD India correspondents. Deepika is joining us from Jaunpur. Deepika, good morning. When we talk of the voter turnout, let us get the quick update from you. All right, I have a quick correction here. Deepika is joining us from Azamgarh in Uttar Pradesh. Deepika, get us a quick update on the voter turnout. How has been the day so far? Uttar Pradesh is one state which has the maximum number of representation in the lower house. Help us understand how important is the day there and also how has been the voter turnout so far.
A very good morning, Preeti. You were earlier correct. I am right now in Jaunpur. We did give you all the latest update from Azamgarh in the morning, and now we've shifted focus to Jaunpur, which is again a very hotly contested seat here in Uttar Pradesh when we talk about the sixth phase of polling, where 14 constituencies are going to poll today and celebrating the Festival of Democracy. I would quickly request my camera person to pan the camera where the entrance is, and we can see a fair number of voters who are continuously coming to cast their vote. It is indeed very hot and humid here in Jaunpur as well, but there are a good number of voters who are coming in. We interacted with the first-time voters, the female voters, the male voters, who said that they've come here to understand, to make people understand their responsibility and why is it really critical to cast their vote. This is not only a festival of democracy, but also understanding your own responsibility. They want to see development here, they want to see women's safety here, they want to see more job opportunities here, and that is the reason why they are coming in good numbers. And as if we talk about the percentage, the polling percentage as of 9:30 AM of Jaunpur is 12.93%, whereas if you talk about Azamgarh, it is 14.13%, and this will hour by hour increase only, and especially after 3 PM because the weather would be better then. Preeti.
All right, Deepika, we'll come back to you again during the day. As of now, thanks for joining in. And also, polling is underway in the North Indian state of Haryana. Citizens had lined up early outside the polling stations to cast their vote. DD India's Amritpal Singh has more from Haryana's Panchkula.
Constituencies in Haryana which are going to the polls today. You can see long queues where I am, and there is considerable enthusiasm in the voters. It is morning time. It's about an hour since the voting started here. What is weighing on your mind that you've come out to vote?
Everyone should come out and vote in large numbers. Whosoever is eligible, maybe at their place, at their workplace or wherever they are, they should travel back home and definitely vote.
They should cast their vote for a government which is ready to bring about development, employment and health and education, promote all of these things.
We do notice what is developing, what is not. And women's safety is our main priority. I am voting on the candidates which I feel may work well in the future. Like those who are approachable, those who are really doing something.
Do you see enthusiasm amongst the people of Haryana today as the state goes to?
Yes, I do, and I so like it that people are feeling responsible and they feel that they have a role in the democracy of our India, which is a very, very important thing for our country at this juncture.
Would you appeal, before I let go off you, would you appeal to your fellow citizens to come out and vote?
Oh, sure, everybody, everyone, and I so like the youth here, patiently waiting for their turn and wanting to be part of the democracy.
So that gives a sense of what the voter of Haryana feels like, and there is considerable enthusiasm, as I said, amongst all age groups to come out and cast their vote and be a participant in this festival of democracy. With cameraman Saurabh Bakshi, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Panchkula, Haryana.
All right, Akshay Dongre is joining us from Delhi to get us a sense of the ongoing polling exercise in the national capital. Akshay, good morning. Now let us get the latest update from you on the polling percentage, the voter turnout. Even though Delhi is under a heat wave, but let us see more details from you as to how the day is progressing.
Well, Preeti, the latest figure that we have so far, according to the Election Commission of India, is only till about 9 a.m. because the 11 a.m. data will be published by at least 11:30. So the numbers that we have till 9 a.m. is about 8.9%. That is the overall voting percentage that has taken place so far in the national capital, at least till 9 a.m. and that the data that we have. However, it is set to go up because of the fact that 2 hours of more voting will be added to the number of voting percentage. In fact, I would like to open this application of Election Commission that they have given for all the public to see the voting percentage. Chandni Chowk has registered 7.83% of voting. That is perhaps one of the lowest, and the lowest is in New Delhi, where we are standing right now, the capital of the country, and the highest voting percentage is right now from Northeast Delhi, where the polling percentage had crossed 10% till 9 a.m. But there were hopes that early in the morning the voting percentage would be higher, because of the fact that many people opt to, in fact, especially in the scorching heat, opt to wake up early in the morning, go to their polling booths, cast their ballot, and then go back to their homes to avoid getting out in the sun. However, the polling percentage is not that high that it was expected to be. But about 9% is still an approximate trend that has been given by the Election Commission. Senior political leaders, including the Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, the former president of the Congress Party, Sonia Gandhi, and Rahul Gandhi, along with other senior dignitaries across the country who reside in Delhi, they have casted their ballot. Many of them, including top bureaucrats, top judicial officers, they have also cast their ballot to encourage voters to come out in huge numbers. There are some people, as you can see, are coming in batches to cast their ballot. This is the Nirman Bhavan.
All right.
So we are expecting the numbers to be higher this time around.
All right. We expect the percentage to be higher. All right, Akshay, at this point, Salman Haider is joining us from Patna. Salman, good morning. You get us a sense of how has voting been so far since morning. 8 seats in the state of Bihar are up for grabs today. Get us a sense of the polling turnout, the voter turnout so far.
Yes, Preeti, very good morning. As of now, the Election Commission's report at 9 a.m. It is 9.66 in all 8 seats. But lowest has been recorded in Valmiki Nagar, which is 8.55, and highest at Vaishali, 11.95. So heat wave has again increased, and that is why the percentage is low, I think. But as the day progresses, the voting percentage is also bound to rise. As far as stalwarts are concerned, Radha Mohan Singh, the former Union Minister and a BJP candidate from Purvi Champaran, has cast his vote, and elderly people are also casting their votes. You can see in the pictures also. So the voting is on progress, and we hope that the voting percentage would be higher than the last phase, I mean from 4th phase, as voters awareness program by the Election Commission has been intensively launched here, and we hope that the voting percentage would be higher than the last phase.
All right, so we expect the voting percentage to rise during the day. Thank you so much, Salman Haider, for joining us from Patna. All right, turning focus to other updates now. In an exclusive interview to DD News, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke on a range of issues, including opposition attacks, his development philosophy, and the ongoing elections. The Prime Minister noted that in a democracy, election is a very big festival.
लोकतंत्र में चुनाव एक बहुत बड़ा उत्सव होता है, और उत्सव की सबसे बड़ी विशेषता है
कि जिसमें मतदाताओं को एजुकेट करने का एक मास स्केल पर मूवमेंट शुरू हो जाता है, मीडिया के द्वारा, इन्फ्लुएंसर्स के द्वारा, ओपिनियन मेकर्स के द्वारा, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के द्वारा, लीडर्स के द्वारा। तो एक प्रकार से पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी डेमोक्रेसी के संस्कारों को आने वाली पीढ़ियों में उनके जहन में उतारने का एक उत्तम अवसर होता है। दूसरा, जो सरकार है या राजनीतिक दल है वो जनता को अकाउंटेबल होनी चाहिए। उन्होंने अपने काम का हिसाब देना चाहिए और चुनाव में उन्होंने जिस भी फॉर्म में जाए ये उनका काम है। भविष्य में वो क्या करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे, किसके लिए करेंगे, कब तक करेंगे, ये काम करने के लिए उनके पास क्या रोड मैप है, क्या रिसोर्सेज हैं, किस प्रकार का मैकेनिज्म है, ये सारी बातें उन्होंने देश के सामने रखनी चाहिए।
Prime Minister also said that in order to run a good government, good criticism is very important.
लोकतंत्र का भला इसमें है कि आलोचना हो, लेकिन आलोचना के लिए मेहनत करनी पड़ती है। मानो अगर मोदी ने कहा कि भाई मैंने 4 करोड़ घर बनाए, तो आलोचना करनी है तो भाई सचमुच में 4 करोड़ बने क्या, इस गांव में इतने कहे थे तो बनो क्या, बने वो जो क्वालिटी बताते थे वो क्वालिटी वाले बने कि नहीं बने, जिसको पैसा देना था उसको उतना पैसा मिला कि नहीं मिला, क्या बीच में कोई बिचौलिया खा, सारा स्टडी करना पड़ता है, वो नहीं होता है। और इसलिए जो लोकतंत्र को ताकत मिलनी चाहिए आलोचना से, दुर्भाग्य से इन दिनों वो सौभाग्य हम लोगों को नहीं मिलता है। तो मैं ये कमी महसूस करता हूँ कि अच्छी सरकार चलाने के लिए अच्छी आलोचना बहुत जरूरी है। और मैं तो ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि सदन में भी ऐसे लोग चुन करके आए जो विपक्ष में हो, मेहनत करे, अच्छा स्टडी करे, सरकार की कमियों को निकाले, तो देश का भला होगा।
Prime Minister also said that he forced all the parties to talk only on development.
मेरे लिए ईश्वर के 2 रूप है, एक साकार, एक निराकार। जो साकार रूप है वो 140 करोड़ मेरे देशवासी हैं, वो मेरा ईश्वर का साकार रूप है। जो निराकार रूप है वो न मैंने देखा है न कोई किसी ने देखा, उसको मैं मिला हूँ। और इसलिए मेरे लिए ये ईश्वर आराधना जैसा कार्यक्रम होता है, जनता जनार्दन के दर्शन करना, उनके मनोभावों को समझने का प्रयास करना, कहीं कहीं पर संवाद करने का अवसर मिलता है। मैंने लंबे अरसे तक चुनाव लड़वाए भी हैं और लड़े भी हैं, बिल्कुल। लेकिन एक ज़माना ऐसा था, चुनाव में ज़्यादातर जाति, बिरादरी और ऐसी खुल करके चर्चा करने की एक फैशन भी थी और उस चीज़ों को अपील करने का प्रयास भी होता था। गुजरात से मेरा अनुभव है कि अब धीरे धीरे देश, मेरा गुजरात के समय की मैं बात करता हूँ, 10 साल पहले की, विकास के एजेंडे को पॉलिटिकल पार्टियां छूती ही नहीं थी। लेकिन गुजरात में मैंने सभी दलों को मजबूर कर दिया था, विकास पर ही बात होगी, करनी पड़ेगी। अब मेरे लिए खुशी की बात है कि जनता विकास के मुद्दों पर बात करती है।
You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. But after the break, Taiwan expresses concern on 46 Chinese military planes crossing Taiwan Strait median line.
We are in Cannes, the famous city on the French Riviera. The 77th edition of the Cannes Film Festival is here. So soak into 12 days of world cinema and the hottest fashion trends. The famous 24 steps leading to the Palais des Festivals, where most of the cinema at this festival is screened, are beckoning. Join me, Munmun Bhattacharya, as I take you through all the buzz around the festival and on India's participation in it, only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get to international updates now. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken reiterated Washington's position on a major Rafah operation when he spoke with Israeli Minister Benny Gantz on Friday. The State Department in a statement said Blinken also discussed the importance of Israel and Egypt concluding the talks to reopen Rafah, the Rafah crossing, as soon as possible. The United States has announced a fresh tranche of military aid for Ukraine, including ammunition, missiles, mines and artillery to aid in its conflict with Russia. A fresh aid package of $275 million announced by the U.S. in an effort to help Ukraine. Last month, U.S. lawmakers passed a long-delayed $61 billion military aid deal for Kyiv after months of squabbling in Congress, as Ukrainian forces suffered setbacks on the battlefield due to ammunition and funding shortages. Since then, President Biden has ordered 5 tranches of military aid to be sent to Ukraine. Taiwan on Friday claimed to witnessed 46 Chinese military planes crossing Taiwan Strait median line. Aircraft were detected around the island during the second day of Beijing's military drills. This is the highest number of aircraft seen this year in a 24-hour window. The 2-day war games kicked off on Thursday morning, with Beijing vowing to test their ability to seize power and control the key areas surrounded by self-ruled Taiwan with naval vessels and military aircraft. China claims the island as part of its territory, and the military drills came days after Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te was sworn into office. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world now. Veteran Conservative Cabinet Minister Michael Gove announced on Friday that he would be stepping down as the Member of Parliament. His announcement comes amid a mass departure of lawmakers ahead of UK's July 4th election. Finland's Prime Minister Petteri Orpo and Latvia's Prime Minister Erika Selina opened a new factory of Finnish defence company Patria on Friday in Latvia. The new factory will produce armoured vehicles for Patria. Paris's Notre Dame on Friday retrieved its radiating Chapel cross, rising back on the roof of the choir of the cathedral. The Notre Dame, which was devastated by a fire in 2019, is set to reopen to the public on December 8th this year. Regions across the world are grappling with soaring temperatures and intense heat waves. In Pakistan's Jacobabad city, mercury soared to 50 degrees Celsius on Friday. Locals have been forced to spend restless nights in heat with frequent power cuts in the city. Heat wave is expected to continue for another 2 weeks. India's disaster management team is gearing up for cyclonic storm Remul that is set to hit the eastern state of West Bengal on Saturday and Sunday. The National Disaster Response Force has deployed 12 teams with 5 additional teams on standby along the east coast. The Indian Coast Guard is closely monitoring the cyclonic storm Remul originating from the Bay of Bengal. The Indian Met Department on Saturday said that depression over the east central Bay of Bengal moved northeastwards and is expected to intensify into a cyclonic storm by Saturday evening and cross between Bangladesh and West Bengal coasts on Sunday as a severe cyclonic storm. In Uganda, water levels in Africa's largest lake, Lake Victoria, are rising fast. The government warns in some areas the lake has breached its banks and flooded the settlements near the shoreline. The current situation is attributed to climate change and the El Nino effect on the rains that have devastated the eastern African region, causing widespread flooding. DD India's Michael Belake reports from Kampala.
Uganda's Lake Victoria is taking on more water than usual. This fish market at the shoreline of the lake near the capital Kampala is partly underwater. Areas that are normally dry, especially the ground where people walk and stores are set up, are covered in water. Traders here are counting losses.
I have not been able to access my shop for several weeks now. I am a single mother and my livelihood depends on this business for everything, including school fees for my child.
We are spending a lot of money to walk around the water. I had to buy logs to suspend this kitchen so that we can keep our food dry. I am not sure when the water will recede, yet we have to work to survive.
Lake Victoria receives water from 23 rivers across the region. The Ministry of Water and Environment says these rivers are currently experiencing El Nino rains. This has pushed water levels in the lake to the highest level of 13.66 meters, up from 13.5 meters in 2020.
You have heard of the flooding in Kenya, you have heard of flooding in Rwanda, you have heard of problems in Tanzania, you have had problems in Burundi. And this is the water which comes to Lake Victoria.
Recent flooding in the East African region has left more than 500 people dead and thousands displaced. This is a pier where boats that bring in fish to the market normally dock. It is usually several meters above the water, but much of it is now submerged. To relieve this pressure on the lake, the government has decided to open up the spillway at the dams to release massive amounts of water into the Nile River. But this is likely to create an overflow downstream to countries like South Sudan, which have already issued flood warnings.
We must cap industrial emissions so that we reduce heat in the atmosphere. We must protect the wetland ecosystem so that in the case of heavy rain, for us indeed it will come, finds us when we are a bit cushioned. It will not prevent, but it will reduce damage because the excess water will be absorbed. The wetlands are like sponges.
In the meantime, market traders here in Uganda have built wooden platforms to walk above the water, while others are planning to move to higher ground until the water recedes. In Kampala, Michael Baleke reporting for DD India.
All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.
We are in Cannes, the famous city on the French Riviera. The 77th edition of the Cannes Film Festival is here. So soak into 12 days of world cinema and the hottest fashion trends. The famous 24 steps leading to the Palais des Festivals, where most of the cinema at this festival is screened, are beckoning. Join me, Munmun Bhattacharya, as I take you through all the buzz around the festival and on India's participation in it, only on DD India.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
There is enormous power in people's narratives, especially when they tell their own story. We meet some people and communities who tell us how it is done.
Anything hazardous to humans is dumped here in North Chennai. We need to tell these stories because we are the ones who are affected by it.
Delhi Metro's philosophy is very clear. We want to generate non-conventional energy. Apart from the whatever is supplied by the grid, we want to generate a lot of energy through solar sources.
The benefit of running an MRF is that it protects me from the rain and harsh conditions outdoors. Work goes on even in hot weather and during the rainy season.
India is one of the climate swing states. We have to get India right to get emissions and to be able to really combat climate change.
Complex hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
As India decides in the world's largest election,
we help you feel the pulse of the nation.
I am Sakal Bhatt.
I am Shubhendu Ghosh.
This election season, join us on a journey of India.
We are in Assam. This is the tea city of India.
From down south, Tamil Nadu.
Discover the colors of democracy.
Gateway to northeast of India.
Coastal state of Kerala. Watch Poll Pulse on DT India.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter.
Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India voting in the sixth and penultimate phase of its general elections 2024. Polling begins in 58 parliamentary seats across 6 states and 2 union territories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks exclusively to DD News. Discussion on a range of issues including opposition attacks, his development philosophy and the ongoing elections. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken speaks to Israeli Minister Gantz after ICJ ruling, reiterates the stand on major Rafah operation. Let's get to the latest on the world's largest election in India. Polling is underway for the sixth phase of India's parliamentary elections for 58 parliamentary seats across 6 states and 2 union territories. Voting is taking place in all the 10 lower house seats in the northern Indian state of Haryana, all 7 seats in the national capital New Delhi, 8 seats each in eastern states of Bihar and West Bengal, 14 in Uttar Pradesh, 4 in Jharkhand, 6 in Odisha and 1 parliamentary constituency in Jammu and Kashmir. Polling for 42 assembly constituencies for the Odisha State Legislative Assembly is also taking place simultaneously today. A total of 889 candidates are in the fray. Polling began at 7 a.m. and will conclude at 6 p.m. local time. The last and the 7th phase of polling will be